Yes, I am the stream. This is literally just me drinking wine, talking about things. Welcome to the Dan Hour. I should really show you guys my collection of coasters at some point. That would be really exciting, I think. I haven't seen the GMs this worked up since one of those Trotsky-loving players whispered the word union to himself in the dark room earlier today. That's a good one, Paper Trail. Okay. Let's get started. Welcome to Trade Deadline Tonight. Tonight we will be talking about an overview of the day, then the Astros trade blockade featuring you, the Paper Trail, and EHAT 493, then the player union fiasco featuring Kick the Pony, then the Cleveland getting a new GM featuring Alstor, the old GM. That's very exciting. Exclusive here. And then finally, we have living as a meme on databases. And if we have the opportunity within the hour, we will be joined by the Cardinals general manager to respond to hacking allegations. So a lot to get through. First thing we're going to do is join the. I'm going to send that thing to people. Did I send it to somebody? 11:39. No, I didn't. That's not correct. Okay, 1 second. Gonna do. We have people joining very shortly. So what I like to do first is just go over do a quick overview of the day. And to do that, I'm actually going to navigate to the thread itself today. And I believe there was a wonderful overview by one of our GMs. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I should have done this, but I was watching the All-Star game instead. So that was my fault. Sorry about that. How's everybody doing? Let's get the... Oh my God, there's a live chat already. This is crazy. There's no Ghost Joe tonight, from what I understand. Ghost Joe hasn't joined yet. No Ghost Joe. Okay. Yes, this is Coasters Tonight with Commissioner Dan. Where are we going? Where are we going? I know this exists. There's a wonderful overview. Highlight of day 2. Here we go. Okay, this is by MJG13X, and I think he's the Red Sox general manager, but he's now with the Tampa Bay Rays. So, highlights of day 2, starting from the beginning. The Astros have been boycotted. The all-AL trade has been completed. Some other teams are boycotting. Oh, do we have a member? Do we have somebody joining us? Oh, hey. What's up, Charles?
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, Charles? Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
I'm slightly awkward. I'm a co-GM / I guess assistant GM for the Mets.
Okay, terrific.
I don't know. We can talk about the boycott. We can talk about the craziness that goes on in the Mets front office, whatever you think.
Awesome. I would love to actually hear about the craziness in the Mets front office, because I do have some things to talk to you about. We've also been joined by Austin and Mac. What's up, Austin and Mac? How's it going, guys? Austin, Mac, what's up?
Sorry about that. Just had to turn on my thing. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. So, Austin, go ahead and introduce yourself to the crowd. What's role, username, that kind of thing? What's up?
I am Alistor in the trade deadline. So
right.
I am the disgraced former GM of Wahoo's TP.
I love it. All right. Well, we're going to get back to you in a second. Matt, go ahead and say hello. You were on last night, but just reintroduce yourself to the crowd.
Return of the Hack, Cardinals co-GM.
Right on. We're going to talk about that hack later on, actually. Return of said hack. So just really quickly, I think we're good on people right now. I'm going to finish up the overview of the day for people who weren't glued to the thread like a lot of us were. So some other teams were boycotted for unboycotting the Astros. The Mariners pulled out of the all-AL trade deal. All boycotts were lifted on those Astros. A new mega trade scaled back from the initial proposal debuted. The Red Sox did not immediately join. Why? We'll talk about that later. The Indians chose a new GM. Again, we're going to get to that. The Mariners can't make up their minds about the AL trade deal, and now everyone hates them. The Red Sox and the Astros still don't make up. The Mariners might be out of the AL altogether. The players demand a union and subsequently ask that no one talk about the unions after the thread was spammed relentlessly. The Mariners are back in the AL, and the AL trade, they're no longer hated. The Red Sox and the Astros still don't make up. The AL and the NL refused to trade during the All-Star game. In fact, we paused all trades during the All-Star game. And as a result, an early closing of the commissioner's office was announced. The Red Sox and the Astros are still not speaking, but at least the Mariners are back. Thank you so much to MJG13X for that wonderful trade deadline day 2 overview. So first things first, let's get to the Astros blockade. We don't have an Astros person, so we're going to skip that one for now. Let's talk about Alstor. You're here.
Ah! Okay.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, so this is going to be your airing of grievances because you're the ousted general manager of Wahoo's Teepee. This is breaking news, everyone. This is the only place you're going to hear this. ESPN doesn't cover this. This is real news. Okay, we got the former general manager here airing his grievances. Alstor, go. What's up?
First off, I asked for a 30 for 30 appearance, but apparently that's not going to happen. So I'll deal with the cards I get.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that don't know, so originally I was the GM. There was going to be 2 GMs, and the other person backed out because he wanted to be a player. So I was the one that was left. So I thought I was doing a bomb.com job. I made some good trades, got some good people in there. I got Brewers Mod in there. I got at least, I want to say 7 people with at least 5-digit karma counts in there.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I was doing great, but some people were complaining in the thread, mainly because of one of the trades I did of one of our more popular users. They thought I undervalued him,
mm-hmm.
which I did not. I got a very good deal out of that.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't familiar with that, could you go into a little bit more detail? Who was the user, and why did people feel like that you were fleecing him?
So the user was someone by the name of Wundy.
Okay.
I do not. Basically, this person is mainly famous for jokes, and they do really good sidebar images. They're mainly just the Snapchat stickers and captions, and it's some of our best content. And I was able to trade them to. I can't remember exactly the team. Oh, it was the Mets. I believe I traded them to. Traded him to the Mets, and I got 2 users out of that. One of them being Danabelle 903, and I thought it was a good trade, but people were upset. They thought that I undervalued and didn't bring in someone that could create content.
So, do you feel that that you were improperly ousted?
Do I feel I was improperly ousted? Of course I was. This isn't a democracy. I don't know why I made it a democracy, but this is not a democracy. So for those that don't, what?
Do you regret your decision to have that vote?
I mean, my hands were tied. The vote had to come down to it. So for those that don't know, basically, at one point, the Jesus, who's a mod on Wahoo's Teepee, came in and said, "Hey, this person's going to be the new mod. Deal with it." Basically, I got fired. And for anyone else, it'd be like, "Oh, they're just shit talking and whatever." But this person has a lot of karma, actually the most karma on my roster, as well as he's a mod, so I really couldn't do anything. And the momentum started kicking, and my hands were tied, so I had to put it to a vote, and I lost 70% to 30%. So I was ousted, and I'm now the disgraced former general manager of Wahoo's Teepee.
Are you planning on running for a conservative seat in the UK by any chance? Because to me, it sounds like a very Theresa May, David Cameron move to have your own election that you then lose. So I'm just curious if you see yourself having a future in the UK Conservative Party.
Oh, I thought I was a Jeremy Corbyn, and I'm not. Theresa May.
We have it.
What a day this has been. What a day this has been.
This has been a long day for you. I'm very sorry for what happened to you. We over at the Commissioner's Office thank you very much for your service and wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
You could have pulled some you could have pulled some strings, couldn't you?
We could have, but we believe in free and fair elections here at the Commissioner's Office. So
30%. It was a goddamn landslide. It
was. What was that? How many people voted? You know.
When I ended the voting, it was an hour-long poll, it was 67. I think there was 3 more people that voted, but it was around the same area. And it was actually funny. They posted it in the person who is now the GM, Bubbles the Bear, posted it in the Wahoo's TP, and it's like, hey, like vote in this. And most rated comment was like, what the fuck is this?
I'm sorry, we just got a comment from Fake Plastic Alex in the chat. They really ran up the score on you on that. I don't mean to twist the knife, but that was really something. Anyway, so thank you so much, Alistair, for joining us. Really appreciate that update. You heard it here first on Trade Deadline Live. Trouble in the Commissioner's Office, or not the Commissioner's Office, the General Manager's Office for Wahoo's TP. So we'll see that story developing. Alistair, do you see yourself having a future in the front office of Wahoo's TP at all?
I'm still technically in the chat as an advisor, quote unquote, but
okay.
I don't see myself having any future, and I'm probably banned from Wahoo's TP now. So, and
oh wow, okay,
I'm not. Yeah, but yeah, one day I have the best press release ever, and then the next day I'm gone.
Well, that's the way it goes on Trade Deadline Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a new member with us, Steve. Steve, what's going on? Go ahead and introduce yourself and your.
So my real name is not Steve.
That's fine.
But I'm my Reddit username is Admiral Jones 42, and I'm running 2 teams as a GM this
all right.
This offseason. I'm running the Tampa Bay Rays and the Minnesota Twins.
You're doing a great job with those teams. I think that those teams have had a lot of trades going on. So thank you so much for helping out with that.
Yeah, Mighty Minnesota had to duck out. So I was just like, yeah, you know what? I was supposed to, or last time I was the GM for the Nationals, and I guess y'all over at the Commissioner's Office decided to give the job to somebody else. So.
Purple pens and misspelling. We give mods priority, unfortunately.
No, I totally get it. It's no big deal.
But thank you so much for
participating. I ended up screwing the Nationals out of the all-NL deal anyway as my act of revenge.
Well, that happens. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we're going to move quickly on to the Mets front office update with Charles. Charles, what's going on in the Mets front office? You guys, from what I understand, have an entire organization at your disposal. So what's up?
Yes, so we have 5 guys, right? So the head, basically, Job Star 21, I think his number is. He checks in once in a while. I don't know if he's actually made any moves, but he's been the GM in the past, and he's been, just making sure everything running smoothly. I don't know. I guess he still wants to be involved. Kick the Pony, I guess, would be considered the official GM. He's again done it at winter meetings. I think he's partnered with Job Star in the past, also during the trade deadline. And then there's the 3 of us. There's me, Chaz, and so many flamingos. So I personally have been doing mainly mid-level moves. I like the higher, the bigger moves, trading the mod, Senior Matt. And all the GM and the rest of the GMs, I think, were all signed up. I didn't want to sign up. That was I let the rest of them play with that. I didn't want to break too many things before I knew what was going on. And we actually have a decent system. We try not to step on each other's toes, though we have traded people who were already traded and had to get back. it's been running well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that having as many people has been an asset or like a net loss for you guys? Because I've noticed there's a lot of loss in translations. Like you guys will be negotiating simultaneous trades with the same players, and like only half of those trades will go through, basically, depending on when they're posted, because a lot of these players can't be moved twice. So right. What do you think? Do net loss, net gain?
Overall, I think it's a net gain. Obviously, you do lose some with the miscommunication. I mean, if we were better organized, it would be a perfect situation. But just the fact that we could do more things, we can get more done just with the 5 of us, or whoever's, if one person's out, and we still have 3-4 people able to do something. Yeah, it was definitely, if someone's looking for a Mets GM, there's always someone to say, I'm right here.
So, all right. So one last question for you. Can you tell us anything that you guys are planning for tomorrow?
I don't really think we have anything specific lined up.
No overthrow the commissioner, for example.
That's the whole league. That's not specifically us. The last thing is Kick the Pony commented, "God damn it, guys! Nobody marked the sheet, and I just double traded well." So,
nope. Well, that happened. Thank you so much for joining us, Charles. Really appreciate it. That was Charles from the Mets from the Mets office. Now we're going to move on to the Cardinals hack with Mac, I think.
Yeah.
What's up, Mac? You have something to tell me?
Alleged hack.
You have something that you want to apologize for?
The Cardinals did nothing. We did have one hack that we did admit to on the Padres.
Right.
That was designed. We didn't do it right when the trade happened. Now, all I'm saying is Kuhan is not even in the country. So anybody accusing Kuhan, I don't know how this could happen.
I'm just saying you're outsourcing your hacks to Pakistan. That's what's happening. That's what's happening right now.
He's so far removed from our organization right now. How could it possibly have been the Cardinals?
Yeah. Okay.
I know everybody wants this storyline because we've done it before.
I'm just saying this paper trail stinks. This guy shows up out of nowhere. He's like, you guys are going to do it this year. I'm not going to get involved. And then he appears today, messes everything up, and then goes away. And we're like, we've seen this script. We know what this is about. So
we all know Kuhan is not even close to the organization right now. So whether or not he did it, that is not for us to know, but it was not our organization.
Okay, so you heard it here first. Our Cardinals is distancing themselves from their mod, Kuhan Luke. Breaking news. Okay. Now we're going to cut over to Steve. Steve, how's it going, buddy? How are you dealing with 2 teams?
It's been a lot of fun, actually, to be totally honest, just because it allows for a lot of I've had my hands in a lot of pots. I was in the all NL trade with the Rays because I was able to use the Rays to supplant the Nationals from the National League. And then I was in the all AL trade as the Twins. And I, when the Mariners were being difficult, almost brought the Rays back to the AL to kick the Mariners out of that trade.
That would have been an awesome idea. I like that idea.
We tried, but it didn't quite happen, but it almost happened. One of the more fun little tiny subplots of the day was there was a couple, but one was when there was a couple users in the r/baseball mega thread that were getting rather uppity about where they had been traded, specifically 2 Orioles fans that had found themselves in New York.
Ooh.
And one with the Yankees, one with the Mets. And they were both raising some hell over where they had been dealt. And the original idea between the Yankees and the Mets GMs was simply, well, we'll just trade them for each other, and then they'll still both be in New York. They'll just switch teams. But unfortunately, the one that was on the Mets had a Yankees no trade, so we couldn't do that. So what ended up happening instead was they called me up because I was running Minnesota. They called me up for running Minnesota, and what happened was the Mets sent me their complainer I acquired the Yankees complainer from somewhere else, and then acquired the Mets complainer and another user for a player to be named later, and sent the Yankees guy back to the Yankees, and then named the Mets complainer later on as the player to be named later, and just sent them right back to the Mets. And so they were rather upset about that we gave them the false hope that they might be leaving, and then just immediately sent them back to where they had come from. I also did get to have a little fun because one of the Royals users who had like 35 or 40,000 karma or something like that, like a major Royals user, signed up with the Twins on accident, like a division rival. I don't know how this happens. But so I ended up with this Royals player on my team, traded them to the Royals in exchange for like their best friend from the Royals. And then they ended up getting traded to Oakland, and then I reacquired them from Oakland. So this person who accidentally signed up with the Twins got traded back to their home sub one more time and then back to the Twins. I'm probably going to deal with them more tomorrow and just send them freaking everywhere in the league.
Have you ever considered just trading them back and forth in a loop between your two league teams?
We've definitely talked about some ideas like that. It remains to be seen whether or not we'll be able to do it. One of my favorite little things was Cough, who's the Yankees general manager, was talking to me about a potential Rays deal. He came to me and he said, all right, I'll give you whatever it takes to make this happen. But thanks, man. I appreciate that. So Cough comes to me looking for a deal. And what he wanted, it was the eve of the home run derby. It was yesterday. And obviously this whole Logan Morrison and Gary Sanchez thing was going down. And so he wanted a statement from me, the Rays GM, that said something to the effect of Lomo is a whiny loser who doesn't deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as the Kraken, or something like that. And I was like, okay, I'll give it to you, but you have to trade me yourself. And so he was like, you know what? I'll do it for Gary. And so he does it. I get him. And then the Red Sox GM, MJG, had also made a bet regarding Gary Sanchez, which was if Gary Sanchez knocked out Giancarlo Stanton in the first round of the home run derby, he would waive his no-trade clause and trade himself to the Yankees. So
I loved that.
Gary Sanchez won, and so MJG was a man of his word and traded himself to the Yankees. But they wanted, both him and the Yankees GM wanted a way to get out of their respective new teams. And so we ended up in this 3-team deal with me, with the Rays, and the Yankees and the Red Sox. And essentially, it was this weird back and forth, but what ended up basically happening was I got both of them, the Yankees and the Red Sox GM, and I acquired the rights to the hat on Wade Boggs' Hall of Fame plaque back to Tampa Bay. So I was very happy about that.
Well done.
We have to fulfill Wade Boggs' wishes. God rest his soul. He needs
R.I.P.
to have the hat that he wants in Hall of Fame. So.
Old Boss Hog.
We've brought Wade Boggs back to Tampa, and I'm very happy about that.
You should be very proud. That's something.
And I did end up trading Cough back to the Yankees as part of the I actually didn't. I offered to trade him back to the Yankees as part of the All AL deal, but then the Rays never got involved in the All AL deal because the Nationals were in it instead. So I almost sent him back to the Yankees again, but I think I still have him. I'll probably move him to somebody else by the end of the week.
So you heard it here first. Cough is on the move from our Rays.
Tampa Bay Rays. R/Tampa Bay Rays.
R/Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, thank you for. Or is there an R Rays? What is just photos?
I have no idea. People kept writing R/Rays baseball in the threads for whatever reason, and I kept having to. Some people kept having to correct it. So,
oh my god,
I have no word on the Astros thing. That can be other people as neutral on that.
Well, thank you so much, Steve, for that update from 2 subreddits. That's a twofer right there. We have Pseudo Anon who just joined us, and Jeff with his microphone muted. Both just joined right now. Pseudo Anon, what's going on? Pseudo Anon? Pseudo Anon is okay. He's not there. Jeff, how's it going? What's up, Jeff?
Hey, good. Living as a meme.
Okay. Oh, right on. Yeah, I'm glad you. This is actually perfect because this is exactly when you needed to join. So we are going to get right down to the thick of it tonight, which is we're going to have a general discussion about the player union fiasco hosted by actually, no, wait, no, Living as a Meme. No, you're on databases. Shit.
Yes, I am on databases.
Okay, no, this is perfect. Okay, Living as a Meme, you do your databases thing. We'll do that right now, and then we'll get to we're going to have a general discussion about the players union after this. So all you, Jeff, talk about this database that you've got going on.
All right. So basically what I did, because I don't have a lot of friends and I have a lot of time on my hands, is I decided to kind of invent some new metrics for how to look at all the users, because I figured it was a little bit unfair for some of the newer users. So yeah, basically, some of you guys I've traded with, and I've let you know. I let you guys know what, like, some little pointers about who might be good and who might be like worth something, but not they might not be. They might not look like it, even because they're lower karma. But I was gonna share with you guys at least a screenshot of what I have, and I'll post it on the Slack thread really quick.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Basically, I split it into a few different metrics. One of those is sorry, one sec. I jumped on a little too quick, I guess. Here we go. So one of those is called like at KPDA, which is karma per day adjusted.
I love it.
And there's three different types. There's the submission or post karma per day adjusted, comment karma per day adjusted, and total. And this was kind of hatched this last Sunday because I was looking at what are called logarithmic transformations for data.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really complicated. Could you break that down for us really quick?
So basically, it takes where we have users who have like hundreds of thousands of karma, and users who have down to like 2 or 3, or 0 even.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is, instead of having it displays this giant range here, it shrinks it down to where everyone's within like a few digits of each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I also did instead of just doing the karma per day, because that can skew towards users who are who are just they know how to meme it right. They know how to shit post very well. Just talk.
What are we doing here?
Sorry. The other one that I did was submission, like a submission total or a post total, a comment total per day, to where you can see people who are just producing a lot. Even if they're newer users. That's basically what I have.
That's awesome, dude. That's very, very impressive. I believe we have Pseudoanon.
I want the Padres to run me through their algorithm and see what happens.
Yeah. Pseudoanon wants to talk advanced metrics, I believe. Advanced Reddit metrics. Pseudoanon, do you have a response to what Steve just said? Pseudoanon is
dead, I guess.
I guess he's still experiencing technical difficulties, which he promised he had gotten rid of earlier. But
by the way, just really quick, to whoever said that I look like Reddit, literally everyone in this call looks basically the same. So, with the exception of like Jeff.
Oh, well, thanks, I guess. Or is that an insult or a compliment?
No, you're in the clear. You're the good one here.
Yeah, you look good, buddy.
Score.
Good luck. Yeah.
That's what San Diego does. It just instantly makes you look like you belong like outside or something like that. Even though
I believe
I've spent the better part of like the last couple of days, hunkered down in here like a little troll. But
I've been doing almost all of my trading from work. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I've wasted a couple of time on that.
Yeah.
I don't have a job yet. Wait, that's not a good thing.
My job has an open desk set up, so you can imagine how awkward it was to make Reddit trades through that.
Yeah, I work in a pretty open place too, so I was like sitting there like, nope, I'm definitely not on Reddit. Okay,
I think my bosses just basically don't care as long as my stuff gets done. So
yeah, fair enough. That's actually very lucky. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff, I would like to have a conversation with you privately more about this kind of stuff because we have a resident data scientist at the commissioner's office, and I'd love to get you in contact with him.
Totally.
To see if we can do more about this because we're all a bunch of baseball dorks and we love metrics. So
yeah,
we're gonna hook you two up and we're gonna do some pretty neat stuff. So yeah. Moving on, I sent you a private message while you were talking. Moving on, we're going to actually get to the meat of the discussion, which is the union. So, for those who don't know, there was a slight uprising today by the Marxists among us, who the players wanted representation for some reason.
Well, this circles back to when we got those 2 users out of New York and then sent them right back to New York. They were upset about that.
Oh, is that what that
I
is?
think a large portion of it was because we removed those 2 users from there and then just sent them right back. And so they were pissed. And then the whole union thing started off of that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So how do we feel about unions? Anybody can go. We don't have a...
I mean, it slows down.
I'm strongly pro-union in the abstract. Obviously.
Oh, is this Siduanon? Oh my God, Siduanon made an appearance.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up,
Sorry
buddy?
about the detail, the technical mistakes earlier. Not sure if they're fully fixed yet.
You look like Kevin Rose.
We can hear you all right.
Has anyone ever told you that?
No.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just taken aback.
I realized that my video was working long enough that I could pop in to say I'm pro-unions.
You're pro-unions.
Although
okay.
I'm not saying that is the White Sox official position.
Explain your position, your pro-union position.
Oh, I'm just in general fairly sympathetic to Trotsky leanings.
in trade deadline specifically, as
I feel like we're getting away from trade deadline and towards just unions in the abstract.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just discuss 1930s unions. Has Trotsky specifically weighed in on Reddit unions, or is this just a union thing overall?
I think the history of baseball is often intertwined with interesting liberal social movements. So while Trotsky himself does not, as far as I know, weigh in, although he would have overlapped in Mexico with some interesting times in the early Mexican summer leagues. I don't know of any official communist position on baseball.
So I love this theory that what you're talking about, which is that baseball and unions kind of are tied together because of the history in baseball, and therefore perhaps we should be encouraging it because obviously this is the whole idea is for us to kind of mirror baseball, right? So I think that's a very interesting position. Does anybody agree or disagree?
Well, to be fair, I would say that the MLBPA is the best players union in professional sports.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think unions and baseball definitely have a lot in common. When you compare the MLBPA to things like, NHL, NFL. NFL's awful, but NHL or NBA, where their leagues get locked out seemingly regularly, every time the CBA comes up, and as I'm sure we all know, I think baseball players are generally making a lot more money than athletes in basically every other sport because of their stellar union representation. Like Bryce Harper's upcoming 2018 free agency contract, I'm sure will be the biggest ever signed in professional sports history. So I think if you're talking about unions in baseball, there's definitely a decent correlation there. When it comes to the actual trade deadline game on r/baseball, I think you're just kind of, it's interesting. It was interesting for the winter meetings when we actually had free agents and agents representing the free agents and things like that. But this is the trade deadline. which is really just GMs dealing users to each other, or dealing between subreddits, and I don't really see where a union fits in the trade deadline schematic, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So here's my biggest question, and I don't know if any of you guys can answer this, but if you can, go ahead and speak up. What would they do? Like obviously, like, so that, like, the unions
that's
were developed
where I'm coming from,
right? It's like they volunteered to be traded in this game, and like, so here's my biggest question. Like, there are like I guess upwards of close to 1,700 people signed up for this. Like, they all get together and say, we're not going to do what exactly? Like let's assume that they all get there. That's what I'm most curious about. Is like, what is their like leverage for negotiation? I also don't feel like we're really treating them that poorly, but like, what is their leverage?
There's a little bit of jacking them around. We'll be fair.
That's true. That's like a couple people. Yeah, like we're not perfect about this, but
when people get vocal, they tend to get messed around with a little.
That is true.
Well, I want to jump in here and point out that this again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the White Sox, but this is a fairly standard management position to say everyone's here voluntarily and everyone is not being treated that badly. I think there's a case to be made that somehow a union representative should be a part of the commissioner's office and give them only the power to veto trades that they think are like ultimately negative to the players involved. So that's my pitch for.
But so then
job.
My response would be, how is having RLBPA part of the commissioner's office not doing exactly that? Because Fake Plastic Alex was invited to the commissioner's office as the Players Association representative, and now he's co-GMing with, or he's co-commissioning with me. So like, isn't that
so
like?
You're saying he's basically been purchased by the establishment.
So how is that any different than what you were saying, though? Because you were saying that that there should be a representative in the commissioner's office, like there is.
I think maybe the unions just need to formally endorse him, and if they aren't willing to do that, as him being the
right.
I'm trying to elaborate a schema in which having a union in this live action role play of baseball makes any sense. So,
also keep in mind, keep in mind the way this is set up. I'm a player as well, so I'm part of the union.
I think we all are.
Formerly part of the establishment. So how does that work? If you're both GM,
I did not become the face of the pro-union sentiment.
No, it's good. We don't we don't want to all be on the same side here. So it's like, it's really important that we have like a difference of opinion here. So
well, I'm a player. I know I signed up as a player with r/nationals. And then ended up being a GM of two teams that are both not r/nationals, and ended up acquiring myself as part of a trade, just because I wanted to. So like, there's a lot of different little subplots with GMs also being players, GMs trading for and trading themselves away, in order to get things that they want. A lot of GMs have been dealt, and it's just generally a pretty big deal when it is. We saw schisms in the Giants front office and the Cardinals front office, with co-GMs trading their partner GM away to other teams. So I think it does get interesting in that respect. But again, for me, it does come back to what would the role be of a players' union when it comes to a game where there's no free agency. Because I saw a list of like when the whole thing was going down in the r/baseball thread. I know I saw a list of like demands that the union was posting, and some of them I thought were not terrible ideas, but some of them were also like, well, this is just going to like completely muck up and complicate the game. Like, we demand 3 no trades for every player. I'm like, well, how are we supposed to work around that? Like, you want to give every single person 3 no trade clauses? That just makes everything way more complicated than it needs to be. One is already like, having 1 no trade clause is already like, okay, well, you're already kind of limiting what we can do here. And having the 1 is fine, because, you know, if you really, really hate the Yankees, you don't want to get traded to the Yankees, and that's totally fair. But I think having more than 1, especially up to 3, it's just kind of like, man, you're really, really complicating things here. So that was my view on it, at least. I don't think all the ideas that people were pitching were bad, but ultimately, what was it other than just people yelling in a Reddit thread for no apparent reason?
I think it is
we keep like talking about people being mistreated. I mean, the people who were behind it were just trying to get attention. And the same thing happened last year with Las Vegas Expos dude, Metro. Like, it's just people who decide they want to get attention and to like make the game about them. So it's like, I didn't even see any complaints about being mistreated other than that.
I really think the only like place for it in the game would be if you wanted to make trades very even in terms of karma, where like you wanted it to match like within 1,000 karma or something. But if you did that, you'd get rid of trades like someone said earlier about like I traded my GM for an order of garlic fries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get rid of that completely, and that's kind of half the fun.
I have to say the trade where Return of the Hack got garlic fries, and that's what she said, specifically did not get garlic fries, was the most brutal thing I've ever seen in my life. It was just absolutely disgusting. I can't believe you did. Just like cue the soundboard of Joe Buck saying that is a disgusting act, because that's just like not cool, man.
By the way, we do have 2 new additions that I just want to quickly introduce. Thomas, go ahead and say hello, and I know you already spoke, but just give us your position on this trade deadline situation. What's up, Thomas? Tom?
What's that? I didn't hear the question.
Oh, just go ahead and say what your position is in the trade deadline.
Oh, Kick the Pony, GM of the Mets.
Okay, right on. Oh wow, we have a big Mets constituency here. And Evan also, welcome Evan. Evan, go ahead and say your position. Evan, he looks like he's listening. And now it looks like his stream's frozen. Okay, never mind. Let's get back to it. So where did we leave off? I believe we were talking to Steve about
I was just talking about Hack trading for garlic fries for him, but not his co-GM.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic. Then actually, I wanted to add on to that. If one of the demands of the players union is that there's some sort of like equivalency in karma, I feel like that really like kind of takes away a lot of the fun in the game for the GMs. Like I know GMs are looking at karma and trying to leverage that.
I think the vast majority of trades probably are roughly karma equivalent.
They are roughly karma equivalent, but then you also have people who bring more to the table than just karma, and those people should be more valued than just their karma score, right? Like I know, like Efits, the guy who does all the gifts, like he gets a lot of karma.
My boy Fitz.
But he's like,
I met him when I went to DC this year.
Efits is ranked within the top 5 for me.
I mean, he's amazing.
I would say top 3.
He is the premier r/Nationals creator.
I have him listed. Like he was somebody that I pegged early on as like number 2 or number 3 until I started updating with even more users. But he still is like right up there, and it's just he produces a lot of stuff and he gets a lot of upvotes. He just draws karma like a friggin'
because his content is awesome.
So this is a really interesting question for Jeff. Do you think that Efits is his value is properly represented in karma?
No.
You think he's more valuable than his karma says, or less valuable?
I mean, he's worth like 325,000 karma or something like that. It's a really high number.
He's a high number, but he is not, in my opinion, he's not appropriately ranked.
Okay,
I would actually agree with that. So,
and
I am an r/Nationals member, so like I'm biased, but
that
guy's prime.
He's above guys like Actual Time Traveler. He's above like Twisted. There's like a Twisted guy. I don't even remember all of them.
Well, here's another thing you have to take into account. Actually, I think that some GMs might overlook, which is karma is definitely not everything, because karma can come from anywhere on Reddit. You look at a guy like Efits who has like 300,000 karma or whatever, and you know that the vast majority of his is coming from baseball and it's coming from nationals, right? So like he is a baseball content creator through and through. He's generating baseball content all the time. Mm-hmm. I have a guy on my team who has over 50,000 TKV, but almost the entirety of his karma value comes from him posting pictures of girls on porn subs. So like, if you want a guy who's got like the porn hookup, you know, I can get you the porn hookup, but he's not a baseball user. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like my biggest guy was Harlan Cedeno. He was like 350 total karma, like huge, 350,000. And I traded him for a package of like 200,000 because like you look through his first 3 pages and none of it's on baseball or New York Mets.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's what, when I'm trading for guys, I don't look at the karma. I go and I look up their user and see if they, in the past 2 days, have they posted on the sub, have they posted on our baseball? Because those are the guys that I want. Like,
yeah, it's one of those, like, if we're gonna go with like the whole Moneyball versus the stupid Trouble with the Curve movie, like we're gonna compare those two side by side. How many times
have we had that conversation about Trouble with the Curve and Moneyball?
Oh, it's wonderful. But yeah, if we're gonna compare those, it's like looking at a guy in the field versus like just looking at stats.
Right.
And I mean, I made all these stats, but also a lot of them do draw from other subs, like you said, Thomas. So like there's that whole thing where you also do have to look at it. So
okay, I think the GM consensus, and I don't think that this is a surprising one, is that you have to look at more than karma. What I'm really focused on right this second is trying to figure out what we call this approach. I have been pushing for advanced Redimetrics.
Okay.
But I've heard advanced Redalytics also used.
Oh, this is actually a big issue.
And yeah. I would like to see, I don't know. I would like to see this in print more often, and I think the reporters are shying away from talking about advanced Redimetrics because they're not sure what to call it.
Oh my lord.
Okay. Should we decide right now? All in favor of Reddit metrics.
Redimetrics.
Yeah, we have to get rid of that first T.
Redimetrics?
Absolutely.
Redimetrics.
I think that sounds good. I like that.
Okay. Right now, everybody raise your hand.
I'm really torn on
Redimetrics. Okay, I'm counting 3. 4. Redalytics.
Ooh. Solid. I'll change my vote.
Keep in mind that this is born from the Sabermetrics.
Yeah, Redimetrics, right? Sabermetrics, yeah. I think Redimetrics is the future.
Advanced Redalytics.
Advanced Redalytics. Somebody's going to create redgraphs.com. Like, you just know it.
Oh God, please don't.
Like, if this gets if this game gets any bigger, people are going to like start searching.
I just like to point out really quickly that the former Indians GM, like casually changed into a Yankees hat at some point.
That's not indicative of anything.
I don't know when that happened, but it happened.
Just look back. What?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go casually. I'm gonna do the same thing at some point now. I have a different team's hat over there. I'm gonna just casually change it.
I should put an Orioles hat on since I'm on their sub now.
Guys, I got to tell you, like, I'm totally feeling like I'm missing out right now because I don't have a hat on my head, and everybody else like is so easily identifiable based on the hat situation.
Yeah, except for me.
Yeah. Except it's not like nobody knows. Like, they're not like, this guy doesn't have a hat. Who tells this guy? Pretty sure we all.
The guy without the hat is the commissioner.
Yeah, he was really professional.
Fair. That's because I don't show bias.
Yeah, do you have an MLB hat?
I wish I had an MLB hat. We were talking about swag, and hats was one of the ideas, but Alex said it was a stupid idea.
Wait, well, Dan, I think I have some really poor quality proof that you actually do have a preference somewhere. Maybe it's where your face is in the middle of a logo, or at least half of your face.
There's also photos of me in Rocky's hats, though, so take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, and A's hats.
That's just because you like dingers.
I mean, who doesn't like Dinger, the most hated mascot in sports? feel like Dan's about to get sniped on another. Oh, it says Alex. Oh, okay. Alex is totally going to buy redmetrics.xyz. 99 cents, by the way. XYZ domains. Just FYI.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a million domains out there that are so worthless. .Christmas. Like, I swear to God, I was looking at this with one of my friends he's actually going to post on.
We need to register trade deadline.
He's
oh my God! Yeah,
make
somebody
website.
Somebody please register tradedeadline.christmas. That would be.
But some of those go really expensive. Like I know .music is like $50. It's why?
Yeah, we wanted to get like something .trades because trades is apparently a thing. We wanted to get like baseball.trades, but it was like that will be $200 for 3 weeks. I'm like, no.
On.
Yeah.
Ask for $10 from each GM. You'll have it.
Oh yeah, .deadline. That was another one that we were looking at, and then it was also like, you know what? Like, I like this game, but I don't like this game that much.
So I was debating whether or not to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. Like in relation to undervalued users, I think probably the number one undervalued user that I have is this guy Alexei Shved 1.
Oh, I traded him.
Oh, that was a big mistake, bro.
Let me check who I traded him to. He was a Twins user.
He's number 10 on my list.
What? He's like 5,000 total, I think.
Yeah,
you'd never guess that.
It's because he started not that long ago, just a few days. His account is only 7 days old.
Oh Jesus, you kidding me?
Yeah, and he already has 7,844 karma, comment karma, and 336 post. He's like wildly prolific. Like I'm really impressed with him.
Okay. Looking back, I don't regret the trade too much because I traded him and another guy. I traded him and 1-800 Anus, which is just an incredible username. I traded Alexei Shved. I traded Alexei Shved 1 and 1-800 Anus to the Braves, but I got like a 50 or 60,000 karma guy in return. So I got a pretty good haul for those two. Actually, now that I look back at it.
Well, I think
whoever has. Go ahead.
We had a guy.
I was just gonna say, like, because you brought that username was funny. Like the best part of this game for me is like when you're looking at the users and you see some of their history. Like I think it was yesterday I looked up a user and like 4 of his last like 20 posts were in a furry subreddit, and I was like, all right, you get to learn a lot about these guys. You're like, okay, guys.
Well, I have a guy who posted once 11 years ago. I don't know what he's doing.
You still have him? I'll talk to you about. I'll talk to you about acquiring that guy if you still have him.
Oh, totally. I haven't gotten rid of him. He's the unicorn I've been talking about.
I definitely want to take a look at him.
He just happened to log in the day that the signups went up.
I still haven't been traded, just so you guys know. And yes, I am participating.
Who are you? Are you signed up with? You're signed up with Nationals, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What's your username?
Tom Riddler.
Oh, jeez. How did I not know that?
Did you not know that? Come on.
I know. I'm just being bad, I guess.
Get your head out of your ass, Steve.
I literally probably talk to you every game thread. Like,
yeah, probably. I wouldn't even mind being traded to Tampa Bay Rays because who doesn't love a nice Steven Souza Jr.
I did trade 20 signed Steven Souza Jr. bobbleheads to Nationals.
Oh, that's a big ask. That's a lot.
Well, okay, we did. It was me, the Nationals, and the Padres, and we did a reverse of the 3-way trade of the 3-way Will Myers trade.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
So I sent 20 signed Steven Souza bobbleheads to Washington. Washington sent 20 signed Trey Turner bobbleheads to San Diego, and San Diego sent 20 signed Will Myers bobbleheads to me.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Since those were the players that, it was just a fun little reverse thing.
That's awesome.
That was actually the trade where I acquired myself. So
my best trade was with the Yankees, and when I got them to concede that the '98 Padres were the best team in the league that year, and because then the only reason the Yankees won is because they sacrificed Mattingly's back.
That is fantastic, and I love it. Although I learned something very interesting just now. Breaking news from the commissioner's office. There are still some teams that have 50 plus users to be traded.
Oh my god!
And the commissioner's office.
Let me guess, the Astros.
No, it's actually not the Astros. It is.
They probably didn't start with.
It's got to be one of the big ass teams that just is hard to keep up with.
All right, so I'll give you guys a couple guesses. There are 3 teams. Go ahead.
I mean, my guess would have been the Astros.
Astros. Actually, I'll just check.
Actually, I would not. I would be willing to gander a guess on the Cubs because I feel like they haven't done a lot, and that they would have a lot of users.
Okay, so
that's one of them. It started out with like 94, so it makes the most sense.
I say Rangers.
But Rangers?
Oh, yeah, Texas hasn't done a lot either.
They haven't done a lot.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas and Cubs are good guesses.
If you're Jim, you can actually look this up. You can get the cheats.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There are 4 teams that have.
I know the Mets had a ton of people, but I feel like they've been active.
The Mets have done a really good job. Right? They only have 22 people left with 3 days to go.
I think I've gotten rid of most of the people on my teams, or at least the majority.
It has to be the Yankees because they just have so many.
Okay, so we have Cubs, we've got Yankees. There are 2 more.
Dodgers.
Blue Jays.
There it is. Okay, so those 4 teams.
Yeah, Blue Jays have a lot, and they had a lot to start with, and haven't seen anything from them.
Yeah. Let me just check on the Rangers, because.
So speaking of the Yankees, I actually forgot something during my grievance part. So right before I got ousted, before I had to suspend trades for the vote, I was in the process of creating a trade with Cough, the Yankees GM, that would have involved sending their highest grossing Aaron Judge memes to Cleveland. But I got ousted, and now that trade doesn't exist anymore because
they missed out, man. They missed out.
I gotta say that whenever there's an Aaron Judge thread, I go to it just to read that guy's comments.
Yeah.
Like
cough.
No, the guy who's like, if I had to choose between saving Aaron Judge or my girlfriend from drowning, then you bet I'll be at my girl's funeral watching.
Oh, we have the code. We have the Coda Glover copy pasta in our /nationals like that.
So to get back to the.
I think I have 19 Twins users left, and I have 12 Rays users left. So I've moved over half of both teams.
You're doing great. You're doing a fantastic job. But we do have breaking news. I've just learned that due to the fact that there are 4 teams that still have 50 plus users left, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Blue Jays, and the Yankees. The commissioner's office has declared a state of emergency. And you fake plastic Alex is currently boarding a flight to Washington, D.C., so we can have an urgent meeting tomorrow morning about what we're going to do with these 4 subreddits, because something has got to change.
I volunteer to take over a 3rd team. I'll do it.
You can do that. Well, we will get back to you. Really appreciate it. So that is
give me Toronto. I'll do it.
The breaking news of the night is we are going to have an emergency meeting tomorrow morning to discuss what to do.
This is big
with these lacking subreddits. This is the biggest thing that has ever happened in the history of the trade deadline.
I agree.
There's an actual flight that is happening.
I think the biggest
permeated thing is real life.
The Yankees, I mean, they've been active. They just have so many people. I think the Cubs is a problem because I've seen him like twice.
Yeah, I figured the Cubs would be a problem because I realized I hadn't seen him, and I have to assume that with the Cubs coming off of a World Series title, that they would have a lot of users signed up.
Also, that
I was actually expecting more from the Cubs, honestly. Like I remember we had to like flash trade more than half of their users last year. They're like a really popular subreddit, but as soon as it comes to trade deadline, they're like, nah. Pretty disappointing. So we remember specifically last year. I don't know if you guys were on the live stream the Friday night from last year, but it was a live stream of us trading all of the Cubs. That was basically the entire thing.
Cubs GM went AWOL.
So that's the big breaking news of the night. I promised some big stories. We're going to just finish.
Can we talk about the Astros thing?
Yeah, so we're gonna circle back to the Astros because we have some new people who have some new opinions. So if you didn't discuss the Astros previously, go ahead.
I was the first one here, and we didn't really talk about it at all. So
we didn't.
Okay. Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, okay. Start from the beginning. Go ahead. You said we didn't talk about it at all. Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot, Charles. Do it.
All right. So let's see. I'm not sure how this started exactly.
Okay.
But I had problems dealing with the Astros myself. I offered, fairly even deal. Guy sends me back. I want more. So how much more? 15K. 15K? Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I wasn't sure if he meant 15K both sides or just him. So I found 15K guys, and I said, okay, this guy for that guy. He disappears for 6 hours, sends me back, sure. 1 minute later, nah. And that was that. So that was my experience with the Astros. And seems like people had similar experiences. I don't really know what started this. Does anyone really know?
I don't know. I do not.
Okay, so the Astros thing, are we talking about like the whole embargo that went down or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Astros embargo. That's what we're discussing right now.
I kind of have a grasp on what happened. I was never really like part of either side of this, but I know the Astros decided to like arbitrarily enforce an embargo between them and like 5 other teams because they said something. It was like a joke at first. I think they said something to the degree of like, oh, we're not going to trade with any other aerially based teams because the Astros rule the skies or whatever. So like they wouldn't trade with the Blue Jays or the Cardinals or the Orioles or the Mariners because they used to be the Pilots and like just stuff like that. And then I think it somehow transformed into like, I don't know what happened, but I think the Cardinals turned it around on them, and then it somehow transformed into the Giants and the Red Sox getting involved, and then like half the teams were not trading with the Astros anymore.
Well, the Giants were always involved, as were the Rockies.
The Giants
because the Giants and the Rockies because they're too tall.
Yeah, and I'll just point out that my original position on this was very clear. It was that the Astros were overreaching by arbitrarily claiming, mountains, and also Giants they're not that tall,
No, not at all.
And as
claiming Saturn's moons too.
Yeah, that was a weird.
But I
previous users will give you like Saturn's moons.
About an hour ago, I was actually purchased and traded to the Astros, and my current position is that it's all been framed very poorly. I think the Astros were really trying to look out for birds, which would legitimately be burnt up by astronauts taking off. And so I just want to make it clear that I think the Astros were well-intentioned to begin with, and I think it was all for the benefit of the mascots. And that is, I'm not sure if that's the official Sox position, but it is certainly my official position as a member of the Astros subreddit. I think we're ready to put this behind us as soon as the Cardinals apologize.
So we need the Cardinals to apologize. We've got Mac right here. Mac, are you ready to prepare an apology to our Astros and move on?
Before Mac says anything, I just want to tell Mac to not do it because the Astros GM was kind of being a dick anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have 3 GMs, or at least 2 GMs, backing Mac not apologizing.
I never participated in the actual embargo. Like I was more than willing to work with the Astros on deals. But then when I tried, the guy was just like not very nice to me and didn't really want to negotiate. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, if you don't want to play the game, then I won't play with you. I'll just go fucking trade with other people. Like I'm not that worried about it. So I wasn't initially. I still have no stance on the embargo, but I just don't know if I want to deal with the Astros particularly.
The issue with the embargo also was that now the Red Sox were refusing to deal with me because the rest of the Mets front office decided to leave the embargo. And I'm trying to get deals from the Red Sox.
And Sox really. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you can go.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead, Evan.
Okay. I'll finish. All
right. Okay. Here's the deal. Go. Charles, you finish, then Evan. That's how we're doing this.
So like I really wanted to get this deal through because they had the Kick the Pony that we got a user Kick the Pony didn't really like. I wanted to get rid of him. I realized the Red Sox had the user named MetSuck, and I thought that would be awesome to acquire him. I really wanted to get this deal through. And so I they're not willing to talk to me. So I released my own press release to say that I am embargoing the Astros just so that maybe if that works out, then the Red Sox will talk to me at least. No, they're still not talking to me now. Like this is getting to be like a real thing because this is the deal I want to get done, and I'm getting nowhere with it. And eventually, they decided to drop it, but it was getting annoying.
So you heard it here first. The Mets are trying to reach out to the Red Sox, and the Red Sox aren't responding. So thank you so much, Charles. Now we go to Evan. Evan, what do you have to say?
So, embargo kind of started with the Giants. They kind of got the ball rolling last night, and then it really kind of blossomed this morning into they were trying to get as many GMs as possible on their side. And I think I released a press release supporting it at the time.
Right.
But I think the Red Sox started kind of taking it too far. I think the first team to leave the boycott was the Yankees. They decided to trade with the Astros, and so the Red Sox started boycotting the Yankees. I mean, even more than they usually do. But
I don't know how the Red Sox and Yankees would ever trade with each other with the NTCs.
But the Rockies and the Mariners eventually did as well. Well, we're not going to deal with them either. And I think one of the mods, or not, one of the GMs ended up comparing the Astros to Hitler. Everybody realized they had gone too far.
That's when they lost the trade.
What's that? Is it? Oh my God! What's that principle? It's like someone's law.
It's like Godwin's
law. Godwin's
Yeah.
law, where the longer an online interaction goes on, the greater the odds that somebody gets compared to Hitler.
That's the scoop of the night. Comparing somebody to Hitler is going too far.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it is too far. As we stand, the embargo for our Astros, the Bay of Orbits embargo is still going on.
Alistair, you're still on right now? I'd like to remind you that you are currently an Astro as well.
Oh, I got traded.
As of
Okay.
If in case that influences your likelihood of speaking up.
The guy who organized the boycott in the first place got traded to the Astros this afternoon. So.
Yeah, that was one of the best things that happened.
Interesting.
All right, so we're gonna end it there. We'll revisit the Astros trade tomorrow night after the commissioner's office has an in-person meeting, and we will issue a judgment then. And we're just gonna wrap up. This is gonna be our final topic. It's gonna be real quick. AL trade or NL trade? Which one was better? And this question was brought to you by Pseudo Anon. I just want to point that out. Thank you so much for this final. It's a little lighthearted thing. Just go ahead and speak up whenever you want. We're going to do about 5 more minutes. So just go ahead and let us know. What do you guys think? Both in the chat and the panel that we have going on here. AL trade, NL trade. What do we think?
AL trade had 2 players per team. NL trade had 1. So.
Twice as big, obviously better.
Okay.
It happened in the first day.
Okay.
It was not posted until the second day, which is the same day that both of them happened.
Everybody had confirmed, though, in the first day. We were just waiting on the commissioner.
Yeah, that's my bad, guys. Yeah, so, okay.
Some little thing called the home run derby got in the way.
So, okay, I'm interested in this. Is there anybody from an NL fan team who thinks the AL trade was better, or anybody from a AL fan team who thinks the NL trade was better?
I feel like this is very, very specifically my position since I was literally involved in both trades.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear what you got to say then. Yeah,
technically, I do control 2, real baseball American League teams, but when the Nationals were being, let's say, non-cooperative, the Rays decided to step in and supplant them in the NL deal. So the Rays, I guess, are now a National League team, and the Nationals have been sent to the AL because the Nationals were in the AL deal instead of the Rays. So personally, having been involved in the negotiations for both deals, I think that the NL trade was a lot easier to get done, a lot more cordial, and had a lot more cooperation in it. I think the GMs were more on board. The AL trade had that whole mess with the Mariners GM, and people got, I think, really hostile at times, and it was kind of a mess, and the trade almost completely fell apart multiple times. It did get done in the end, but ultimately I think the hostilities were kind of a put off for a lot of people, and I think by the end a lot of the people involved were like not even having fun with it anymore and just wanted it to be over. Mm-hmm. So for the reasons prior stated, I think I'm going to have to go with the NL trade, despite the fact that I am technically the GM of 2 AL teams.
Yeah, I put together a mega trade like this in the winter meetings, and I basically did the entire thing myself. I did do not necessarily one per, one player, one user per team. I tried to mix and match, get the karma about even. No one was, really gonna work with me. So I can imagine. I wasn't really involved in this one, but I can imagine how difficult it was.
I mean, the NL trade had 100 tons or 1,000 tons of agave.
That is true.
So
that's.
I also did acquire this was the biggest piece of the trade for me. I did acquire from the National League for the Tampa Bay Rays a promise that the Washington Nationals will be moved back to Montreal before the Tampa Bay Rays are. So no more Montreal jokes. I'm sick of hearing the Montreal jokes. Cut the Montreal jokes. It's not happening.
Well, not if I have anything to say about it.
Well, okay. I am actually a Nationals fan. So
wait, really? I wouldn't have guessed.
I'm on your side here, but yeah, for the sake of RP, the Tampa Bay Rays are not moving anywhere anytime soon.
Fair enough. And on that note, we're going to say goodnight for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm just going to go by your names on here. Austin, Charles, Evan, Jeff, Mac, Pseudo-Anon, Steve, and Thomas. You guys have been great. You can follow us all more on our trade deadline, on our baseball, and Twitter, Reddit trades, and Snapchat, actually, Reddit trades as well. So thank you all so much for joining. We'll be back tomorrow.
I got fired.
You did get fired.
You could come back as the head of the players union.
Yes.
I think we just need a chief Cleveland Indians correspondent. That's not the GM.
I would love to see we're going to be following your progress, because I don't think we're done with you yet, Austin. I think you've got a future here.
We have not heard the last. We have not heard the last of Austin yet.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Trade Deadline Tonight. I've been your host, Dan Matthews. Tomorrow night I will be joined by Alex Payette, my co-GM, and maybe some more special guests. We'll have to see. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all have a good night.
Shout out to Tampa.